Well, good morning. It's 8:30, so it's time to start a program this morning. We are glad to have you all here. My name is Dave Beam. I am a business coach and have been doing that for around 28 or 29 years. I've lost count. I probably need to get that accurate, but we want to thank Lisa Carver and the Portsmouth, Ohio Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this. Lisa's here today, and she's helping me kind of navigate people coming in and out. And so we're glad to be in partnership with them. These are 30-minute programs that are just designed to get you thinking. And in thinking, as a coach, I want to improve your performance. Now, this could be your personal performance, or this can be your work performance, or it can just be something that you want to do for yourself. And I love distinctions. It's when you look at something that's left, right, up, down, north, south, we get distinctions. That's the way our brain works. And this one today is a little more nuanced. It's a little bit more difficult to really see the difference between the two. So I'm going to begin with some definitions here in a minute. So choose versus decide. So what you can do right now is you can start thinking about those two words, choosing, deciding. How are they the same, and how might they be different, depending on how you look at them? The rules of the game is just a place I always start with these presentations so that you can get the most out of this time together. If you want to get the most out of a game, you need to know what the rules are. So here they are. The first rule is you need to own it. What does it mean to own it? Well, if you work in an organization and a business, there's two kinds of people for the most part. There are people that come in and own their job and own their role in the business. They're all in and they're there to make a difference. And then there's other people that just come in to go through the day and get through the day, and they might help out a little here or there, but they don't really own it. What I'm asking you to do now, this morning, is to own this 30 minutes. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at some of the other rules. That'll help you understand what I mean by that. I want you to participate 100%. That would mean practical things like turning the phone off and getting it out of your line of view, closing all your other apps and the other things that might have you distracted, and even, in a sense, with your mind, opening a drawer and taking all those thoughts and just pushing all that stuff in the drawer and closing it for this 30 minutes. It's a rule that says I need to participate and be present with what's happening right now 100%. So, if you'll own it and you'll participate 100%, there's something else that you need to do as a rule to get the most out of this morning. You need to get rid of I know. I know is that prefrontal cortex judgment part of the brain that says, I know what's going on here. I'm going to be skeptical. I'm going to think a lot. I'm not going to be open-minded. I'm going to settle back and say, I know that isn't true, or that doesn't make sense to me. Replace that thinking for this 30 minutes with, isn't that interesting? At the end of this, you may just want to take this information and set it aside and not do anything more with it. Or you may say, this has been truly a mind shift today. This has been truly, I see things differently, and therefore I'm going to perform much better. That's my goal in this. For you to reach that goal for yourself, you need to drop your I know and just find things interesting today. And if you'll do that, if you'll own it, take full responsibility and accountability for your response to this, Participate 100% and be present. And if you'll get rid of your preconceived ideas and notions and even knowledge that you currently have, shove all that aside. We'll have some fun together and have a good laugh at ourselves. And I think when you're laughing at yourself and enjoying life and enjoying things and kind of being entertained while you're learning, that's when you're going to get the most out of this. So let's get going. Let's start with some definitions for this morning. Now, I'm going to define these terms pretty narrowly so that you can start to get the distinction. You can see the distinction. Right now, these two terms will seem very similar and almost the same. And I suppose in usage and in the way you use them day to day, they could be almost the same. But for the purpose of this morning, for helping you improve, I'm going to be very picky with the definitions. So let's look at this first definition, the definition of to choose. So choosing. You've got choices in front of you. You're shopping in a store and you're going to buy green beans and there's 5 different brands. What does it mean to choose? Well, what it means is you're going to go in there and you're going to just pick one of those cans and you're going to put it in your cart. And you've chosen which brand of green beans you're going to have. And a simple way of I want you to think about choosing in a simple way. It's a single act that I just choose. I take or I select that. I select something. The other thing we want to look at is to decide. Now, this might be the process that takes you to choice. It's coming to a resolution of the mind after consideration. And so that whole decision, I'm going to look at deciding as a process this morning. It's a mental process. You're looking and you're reading the labels of the different cans of green bean, and you're trying to decide which one you're going to choose. So choosing is kind of final, and deciding is that process to get there. And I'm going to suggest to you this morning, if you track with me, that when you know the difference between those two things, you are quickly on the way to getting out of procrastination and moving forward. Just hang in there with me, follow the logic. It really will be very, very helpful, I believe. Choice is a commitment. I'm looking at 9 different things or 3 different ways of doing something. Perhaps I'm thinking and going back to school. Which school am I going to attend? Maybe I'm looking at my budget. I'm going to decide what I'm going to buy, what I'm not going to buy. Maybe I'm standing in my closet in the morning getting dressed for the day and I've got choices. So when I make that choice, I commit to one of many. I'm saying no to a lot of things so I can say yes to this thing. That's called commitment. That's choice. I think you're feeling the difference now. I'm taking, I'm selecting. Choosing is a simple act that puts an end to the deciding. It breaks what has become perhaps inactivity and it gets things moving again. In other words, choosing forces things to move forward. As I stand on the top of the high dive board as a child, or maybe as an adult, and I've never jumped off the high board before, I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to jump or not. And at some point, I have to take the leap and choose. Or I have to choose to back off and start to climb down the ladder. The fact is, the choice ends the decision making. It brings the decision making to a conclusion. It it is an act of committed action. I hope you're seeing it because some of you are stuck right now and you're wanting to get free and you're wanting to get out of this swirl in your head of trying to decide what to do about something. And I'm telling you the answer to that is to come to a choice and make it. Let's think further. A choice ends one thing and it begins something else. A choice ends the analysis phase. A choice says, I'm done thinking about what I'm going to do and I'm going to do something. And as soon as I take that step, I've begun this new phase called the experiment. I'm going to take a choice that I'm making, I'm going to commit to something, and I'm going to start to test and measure and have an experience. And I'm going to see from that experience what's going to happen. Think about the word experience, experiment, how they're very, very related. In the scientific world, I've set everything up and I'm going to run the experiment. I'm going to try. I'm going to do it. I'm going to see how it feels. I'm going to practice it. I'm going to start to take action. I'm no longer going to sit in the corner in my office or in the dark and try to figure it out anymore. The analysis paralysis is over, and now I'm going to take action. I hope you can see the difference between deciding and choosing. Deciding is not bad. It just gets laborious and overextended. Trying to decide something can become endless. It slows you down and it can even kill progress. It can get you caught in a slough of, I don't know, of indecision and insecurity and fear. It binds you up in guessing and thinking and guessing and thinking, and you're on this merry-go-round when there's a whole park of rides to ride, but you're stuck going round and round and round with the same thing. It is not productive, it is not helpful, and it's fear-based. I'm afraid I'm going to make the wrong choice. You would be better to make the choice and run the experiment and see what the outcome is. Oh, but Dave, that's risky. You'd be better to move through a choice and see how it turns out, and if it doesn't turn out well, you can choose something else then. But you don't know what's going to happen till it happens. You're just guessing. You're just prognosticating. You're just assuming. And then if you think about it another way, you get caught up in that. Well, this could be better or that could be better. Now, if you have core values, there are some things that are chosen for you. You've said some things are non-negotiable. I will not do this or I will do that. We're not talking about those choices. We're talking about choices when you have a choice of many, perhaps good things. You're just not sure which one is best. And so you get frozen in this analysis paralysis of trying to decide. And I am telling you today, if this is ringing true with you, if you've been deciding for a while and you've been thinking for a while and you've been losing sleep for a while and you've been stressed for a while and you've been anxious for a while, you need to get out of that while and you need to break it by making a choice. Even a bad choice at this point is better than no choice. Certainly, you might not make the best choice, but you will be choosing something better than no choice. I hope this is making sense. You can never know everything. You can never know everything. And in fact, you know very little. You think you can know everything so you can make the best choice, and I believe in informed choices. But at some point, you're going to have to quit trying to decide and choose. Choosing and acting will teach you as you test and observe. I hope you see the distinction between deciding, which is a process, of trying to resolve things in your mind, judgment, where choosing and acting will teach you more than all your pontificating and thinking. Procrastination now enters in. Procrastination is a cowardice. Boy, isn't that strong? Those are strong words. Those are uncomfortable words. But it's a fear. It's a cowardice. And it manifests in a refusal to commit, a refusal to choose. And here's the excuse that the procrastinator uses. I can't decide. I can't make up my mind. So I use that as an excuse to hold back from acting, from participating, from going for it. The antidote to all of this muddle is simple and direct. Choose and act. And make a mistake. Glory in a mistake. Mistakes are lessons. They're not failures. Think about the child that wants to learn how to ride the bicycle. At some point after he reads the books and sees the videos and watches the YouTube, he has to put his rear end on the seat and start to pedal. Certainly we can put some training wheels on there, but until he gets moving, until he starts acting, he is never going to learn how to ride a bicycle. But Dave, he might fall. He might skin his knee. That's part of the learning process. Some of you are managers. Some of you are leaders in organizations. Open it up. Let people choose. Let people experiment. Let people see what might happen. Dave, we don't have time for mistakes. Well, then just shut it down and go get a job. If you're going to do anything new, anything out of your comfort zone, anything progressive, you're going to make mistakes. Embrace mistakes. Mistakes are wonderful lessons. They're not failures. The failure is to sit and try to decide all day long and not do anything. That becomes inactivity. That becomes a stuck place, a rut, a grave with the ends knocked out. That's what a rut is. And if you think about it, many people, I have been there, you've been there, we get caught in our heads and we cannot figure things out. And one of the best ways to determine if something is good or not is to just go ahead and do it and see what happens. Run the experiment, make the commitment, and then test and measure it. Choose a path, take that path, then observe the results, make adjustments, then choose and act again. Have you ever seen those little toys they get on the floor? They roll and they hit the wall, and then they have a little mechanism that causes them to turn a little bit and back up, and then they go forward and they hit the wall again, and then they turn a little bit and they back up. Eventually, that toy will find the doorway. Now, if it just sat there and tried to decide which way to turn or how hard to hit the wall, the toy would never move and get anywhere. What am I saying? Some of you are facing some life decisions, some business decisions, some people decisions, some personnel issues, some family issues. Give it a last decision making, run through the options again, and then choose. You ever been out to eat with somebody that can't make a choice? They just look at the menu. They go to the Mexican restaurant that has 9 pages of choices, and we sit while they read and they consider, and they're worried that they're going to get something they don't like. Order something, get it, taste it, and see if you like it. You've made a choice, you've made a commitment, now you're going to learn something. I hope you see the difference, folks. The fear of failure, the fear of a mistake keep many people where they are. So, let me bring this together for you this morning. 3 offers. Why don't you choose to have a conversation with me? Maybe there's something on your mind. You just like a third party to help you decide, but maybe you want a party that will also ask you the question that will lead you to a choice, a move forward. If that's you, email me. We'll have a conversation. I would love to do. That's why I live these days, is to have those kinds of conversations with people. Second, if you want a copy of this slide so you can think about it some more, and you'd like an article that kind of summarizes this concept, I'd be glad to send that to you. You just have to ask for it. These are free offers. The third free offer is just go to the website. You don't even have to relate to me at all at this point. We have hours of training just like this that are just YouTube links. And we have literally hundreds of short articles that I've written over the last 28 years. And they are stored there and for your use. And that website address is www.mentordavebeam.com. Just looking through the names, I know several of you. If you are one of those folks and you know me already and we haven't chatted for a while, this is your offer. This is my offer to you, your invitation to send me an email and say, I'd like to talk again, Dave. I'd just like to have a conversation. Love to do it. So that is it today, folks. I hope, again, this has been helpful. The distinction between choosing and deciding. It will get you moving when you move from the decision process and make a choice and take action. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.